everyone, welcome to another After Sunset Sunday. I'm Tammy, I'm the Siberian Wind, and I'm glad you are here. I see Judy's already checked in the chat. Thank you for being here, Judy. Anybody else who is here watching, go ahead and check in the chat if you will. Just let me know that you're here, you're hanging out. If you're not a subscriber, you do have to hit subscribe in order to chat, and you have to wait about 5 minutes. It's not a whole lot, but yeah, you have to wait about 5 minutes, and that just keeps everybody out of the way. RV Quilt Quest is here. Hello, Rhonda. I heard your name earlier today. So welcome, welcome. Glad you made it. You're a new subscriber to me. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to pop out my chat real quick. That way I can see it a little bit more clearly. My software doesn't do a fantastic job for me. It lets me know a little bit, but not everything that I need to know. All right, so tonight we are going to work on something you guys have been kind of waiting for. It's not anything with a lot of, it's not a lot to do or anything like that, but you guys have seen it. You've seen a little bit of it, but you haven't seen the finish of it, so we're going to finish. Glenda is here. She says, hello, Tammy. Welcome in, Glenda. Glad you made it. Glad you made it. All right, I am going to turn my fan off real quick. And I do have my window open, so if we hear random noises, it is from outside. It is not from in the apartment. All right, so do you guys remember my 16-month quilt left over from 2011 and 12 that I was kind of working on finishing up the little blocks for? Well, I went back through, and when I was trimming them, I don't know if you guys remember from other conversations, when I was trimming them, some of them were not big enough. Like some of them I could cut at 12 1/4, some of them I could cut at 12 1/2, some like this one and one of the other stars. No, I couldn't even get that close. Like it was way off. This is back from my early days of quilt teaching. Okay, so I do not have my points. They are gone. They are lost. They are not coming back home. They are gone. But at this point, I want to get this quilt finished, and finished is better than perfect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put some of these up on the board. Some of them may be up out of you guys' line of sight, so I do apologize for that. But I am going to put them up here so I can make sure I kind of have them in some kind of good color order. I did actually trim a few of these wonky, and so you guys will get to see that here in a minute once I get to one of the wonky blocks. And we're just going to do a 3 across and 4 down, and I do have sashing that I have cut. So all of these blocks will be sashed. They're not going to be, it's not going to be anything fancy. It's just going to be plain sashing. Like it's what I have. It is just what I have. So we have one block here that is going to really stand out. So when I get it done, or when the whole quilt is done, it's going to go at the bottom. It's going to go at the bottom. So this block right here, the block itself isn't really bad, but my sashing for it, this fabric is not anywhere else in the quilt. But it looks fairly okay to the rest of it. This block is one of the wonky blocks. So it looks pretty fantastic being put wonky, being put angled a little bit. I actually think I want to rotate it now that I'm seeing it on camera. Let's rotate it and see if I like that layout a little bit better. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I may come back to it. We may see. We may see. And I do not actually have enough room on my board because I've got other things on the board. That's another reason I turned the fan off, so that we weren't having things blowing away on us. So yeah, it's going to be what it's going to be. This is not going to be a perfect quilt by any means. This is like the furthest from perfect that you will ever see. It's like fantastically not perfect. And there went that block. It did not want to stay. I've got my Halloween Town up here in this bag. That's what this purple stuff is. That's Halloween Town. All right, Lori, yay! She's like, glad I found you. Happy you sleeping. Yeah, I am live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So you can actually put it on your calendar. This is the one live, other than my Tuesday nights, that I usually don't move it at all. I like to keep it there. I want to give some continuity to my channel, and that is the perfect way to do it. So I think I'm going to put that one down here. So I'm just going to stack these this last row up because I don't think I'm going to be able to put them on the board because I think they're just going to fall. And then we'll do this one. Yeah. Then it will be that one and this one. Okay. All right. So now I've got them in some kind of order. So I'm going to sew this row first, and if I need to come take Halloween Town down, we'll take Halloween Town down. That is what we will do if we need to. I do not mind. Tonight is just literally trying to get something done, trying to get something accomplished. I have spent all day. Okay, so Friday, if you guys don't know, if you guys have not been following the channel, if you guys don't know, I went to go quilt a quilt on Friday. And I started just before 10 a.m. Chloe's here. She says, hello, Tammy, welcome and all. Thank you, Chloe. Welcome, welcome. Oh my gosh. My phone is going off. I am so sorry, guys. Apparently, Facebook Messenger does not silence when I silence my phone. So, Friday I went to quilt my client's quilts. And they're done. They are quilted. They're not bound, but I'm also going to have to add ties to them. So I'm kind of waiting. Let me silence my phone completely. Oh my gosh, guys. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I normally do not have my volume where it can go off. And everything that I'm being sent can perfectly wait. So I apologize for that. But yeah, so I went Friday and quilted. I spent 9 a.m. to I was there at 9 a.m., got the quilt loaded by 9:45, and I did not leave there until 4:45. And I took maybe a 15-minute break to eat, and that was it. We loaded the two quilts side by side. So my backing was 108 inch wide, so we loaded it with the 108 inch going the width of the quilt frame, and I had 5 yards, so I had 180 inches. My longest quilt was 158, so I had enough yardage lengthwise, but we were having to make sure, because my batting was only 90 inches wide, I had to cut extra batting and bring that and do extra strips. And then we went through, I think, 4 needles. We started on the 7th bobbin before the end of the day. And I had a lot of thread breakage. And that's why we were changing needles. So I don't know if it was related to the thread itself or what. Right before I was leaving, somebody suggested to the person helping me to oil the thread, and apparently neither of us have thought of that. I have never heard of oiling your thread, so it's kind of new to me, but she did put oil on the thread for us to run it, and I only had, I think, 1 breakage after she put oil on the thread. So I don't know what the problem was. I don't know if it was the machine. When we changed to a larger needle, that did help. But I think it was maybe a thread issue or something. But so many thread breakages. So when the thread would break, I'd have to unstitch a little bit and reset everything up. And it's just my second time using that long arm. So I didn't know exactly what to do every time, so I was having to learn that as I was going. When we quilted my previous quilt that I went up there for, welcome in, Deb. She's here as well. Thank you, thank you. When we quilted my previous quilt before, we didn't have any thread breakage, like none at all. Like we ran out of bobbin once during the middle of a run, but that was it. Like no other problems whatsoever. So Friday was a lot different. A lot of thread breakage, a lot of like hiccups and things like that. So I was having to spend the time to go back and redo and recatch and all of this other. Thankfully, it was a digitized pattern and she knew what she was doing. We only had to reboot the machine once, and that was my fault. But overall, it was a rough day. It was a good experience because it got me, it gave me some realistic expectations of what, even with the digitized long arm, I might be looking at in the future. But it was definitely rough. It was so rough. So then I came home, and then yesterday, after my live, I started working on quilting my Harvest wall hanging quilt, and I had so much thread breakage. It was so disappointing. I was heartbroken. I didn't know why I was having the thread breakage. I am trying my new cutie frame that I bought secondhand, and it's the same long arm I've had, but I have tension issues all across that quilt. And the majority of the quilt was done on my long arm. Then when I got done quilting the center part of the quilt, I brought it down. You like the wonky block, says Glenda. Awesome. Yay. Yeah, there's going to be a couple in here. I think we'll get this all done by 10. I'm pretty confident we'll get it done. But, I mean, I want another quilt top. The only thing I don't think I'll have done is I don't think I'll have the borders on it. I do have more of this to put on the borders. It's the pink with the little circles pattern. It's like the brown that you see like in this spool. It's like that dark brown, and then what you see here with the leaf, it's that darker brown. But this is just like that. It's just pink instead of brown. But yeah, so I spent all day yesterday, and I kept having to take breaks because I was so frustrated, so insanely frustrated with my long arm and the tension issues. And I kept playing with the tension, trying to adjust it. And then if I would adjust it up far enough where it shouldn't be having tension issues, I was having thread breakage. And my thread is old, so I know it definitely could be my thread. Like I'm not even, I'll give ground. It could definitely be my thread. But I got the center part quilted yesterday, I finished it today and then brought it down to Beauty here, and I quilted the borders on it, on Beauty, and I'm having the same tension issue with the threads I was using on the long arm because I brought the same threads over to Beauty. So there was tension issues whether it was on the long arm or this machine. So I think that quilt was just destined to have issues. So it's waiting to be bound and hanging sleeve, and then it will get threads trimmed and go up on the wall. May not even wash it. It may just go straight to the wall because it's not designed. I never designed it to be somebody's lap quilt. So I'm not super worried about that. But that's what I was working on earlier today. And then I started going into this to get these sashed and all of that to get it going. So let me bring you guys down to the machine. Let's bring you guys over so you can see what I'm doing. And I do have the light off. We're going to see how much I can see with it off. Sunset's getting earlier and earlier, so we are well past sunset now. So what I've got is I have these. This is that same pink pattern I was just showing you a minute ago. I've got this as my cornerstones, and they're cut in 3-inch squares. And then I have this fabric, which is not anywhere else in the quilt. But this is all of my fabric of it. I don't have extra. It is a white on cream. It's really hard for the camera to pick this up, and I'm so sorry. There is just not a good way to get this camera to pick it up. I don't know that this one can either. No, I mean, it just looks cream. You guys really can't see the print, so I'm going to have to take pictures of this quilt once it's done, but there is a print on here. All right, Jess has joined the chat, so blessed by Jess, welcome in, and Susie has also joined the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. So we're going to do a traditional Tammy technique. We are going to web piece this quilt so that when I get done sewing the sashing and the cornerstones, it's all going to be put together. I'm not going to have to figure out which row is which row. We're just going to start feeding it all in. So I do not need that one. I need my other ones. I'm going to flip this stack over. This is my last row that you guys can't see up there. So I'm going to put, this one is also cut wonky. You guys will probably really like this one because I do not have more of this green. I have no more green at all that was in this quilt. And I don't have enough of the brown to do all of them. So some blocks did get stashed in that brown. I think one block got stashed in that brown. Yeah, I think only one. But I didn't have enough. So I went ahead and cut this wonky. I figured a drunkard's path out of all the blocks needed to be wonky. If you're going to have a block come out wonky, it needs to be the drunkard's path, right? Drunkard's paths are supposed to be, you know, curvy and all of that, but if you're going to have to set it in and you're going to have to put sashing and all of that, might as well do the extra fun with it. So, oh, I actually did need to start. Okay. Oh, well. Did I do this wrong? I might have done this wrong, but okay. We will adjust. We will adjust. I don't know if I went the wrong way with this. Let me see. If I go, okay, so I can grab the bottom two. So we'll still make it work. We'll still make it work. With web piecing, it is kind of important that you keep everything in order. And that everything is already cut to the right size. The cut to the right size, I can assure you that I did do. All of my blocks are now cut to 14 inches. So they're going to be 13 and a half once they're pieced in here. Jess says that she's nervous to do curved blocks. She's applauding me. Oh, just wait. There's more curves coming in January. There's a lot more curves. Lori says, pretty block. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I am doing a double wedding ring temperature quilt. I am pattern testing it right now. I am publishing it. So I kind of have to test it out. But it is, double wedding ring quilts are notorious for having all curved seams. So this one I did not cut wonky. I did lose my points. So I don't remember where. Yep. Down at the bottom of the center, I did lose my point there. Okay. You guys, this is from quite literally the beginning of me trying to become a professional quilter. This is me not knowing what I was doing and designing a quilt thinking that I could teach others how to do quilting, and I really didn't know what I was doing. The drunkard's path that you see, Jess, I actually did that one way back when. That one was really, really old. I did not do that one recently. That one was already done. No, wait. I did do that one recently, didn't I? You guys, curve piecing can be slow going, but so cool. Yes. Actually, I think I did do it recently. I can't remember. I would have to go back and watch my previous videos where I worked on this quilt to be able to tell you what I worked on and when, because I don't think I even remember. I planned this quilt to start in 2011, and that's what happened, is it did get started in 2011. But I was going to teach the quilt, and we were going to finish this up in 2012. And during the midst of all of that, my store had to close and change ownership, and there was so much. There was so much going on. All right, now this is a directional block, so let me make sure. All right, I'm going to put it this way. That way, whichever way I go, it will work. I'm going to show you guys what size template do you use. I actually have an AccuQuilt die for the double wedding ring. I think it's an 11.5-inch block is what they bill it as. I can double check later. Can't check right now. But I also have Winding Ways, which is also curved piecing. I also have the Drunkard's Path one, which is obviously curved piecing. When I am looking at doing a lot of curve piecing or things that are hard to cut, I do go ahead and bite the bullet and buy an AccuQuilt die for it if there's one in a size that will work for me. So I do apologize if you guys are hearing outside noise, that there are some people outside the apartment. Katie is here. Welcome in, Katie. I didn't see you go live today. I missed it. Jess says that she just needs to bite the bullet. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Okay, guys, this is proof that this is way before I knew what the heck I was doing. That is selvage right there. I did not make sure that my pieces were all going to be cut where you saw only print. That is part of the selvage. So it is in here. This is from my early quilting career, thinking that I could teach others how to quilt when I really didn't know what I was doing. Chloe says sewing foundation paper piecing for the first time. Oh, yay, Chloe. That is brain work right there. Foundation paper piecing is brain work. I will be working on some more tomorrow night. I need to do some trimming before tomorrow night so that I can go and just sew, because I really need to get a jump on things. I only have October and November to get all the rest. Remove word from Southern language. I hate when I can't use a word anymore. I'm confused. What word are we removing? Other than I need to remove from my language. I say it far too much. I know I do. I just can't do it. Doing well, winding down, procrastinating on bedtime. Oh, well, you found the perfect place to help you procrastinate, Jess. I will not take any responsibility for it, but you found the perfect place. So, yeah, I really did not know what I was doing when I started all of this years and years ago. All right, so now I've got my first kind of row put together. So everything is still attached, and I'm going to leave it that way. Now, because I didn't pay attention to what I was doing, and I didn't pay attention to directions or whatever, so I'm going to have to flip my whole piece. Oh, you know what? I get to unsew. Oh, you guys are gonna laugh. So I've got my little cornerstone there. However, I have 2 strips. So I get to unpick them. Let's see. Cruise season is finished now, Jess, and Katie is doing all right. She spent all from this afternoon until a few minutes ago working on Andrea's pattern. Awesome! I need to get back to finishing mine up. I am ready to start doing tutorials. So my tutorials are going to be recorded. They're not going to be live. They're going to be recorded so we can publish them when the pattern is published. And that's my main thing, is I am ready to do the tutorials. Let's see, what did I miss? Jess says that she'll have caffeine tomorrow. Yeah, I have caffeine now. You can always come. No, I won't share. I'm sorry. You got to bring your own caffeine. Jess says, oh, I bet that quilt looks great. Cozy Holiday Sampler Quilt Along by Apples and Beavers is 2 blocks a week for 6 weeks. Some blocks are a mystery. Ooh. I like mysteries at some points. I'm not ready for a mystery right now. All right. Oh, Katie says that she's halfway through the pattern now. Posted a pic, would love some feedback. Absolutely, Katie. I will go look at it here in a little bit. Once I get off the live, that's kind of where I'm going, because I'm going to post an update in the group about the one that I'm working on. Kind of giving like a time frame, because Thursday is going to be insanely busy again. It's not going to be another easy one. Thank you, Katie. Thank you for reminding me. She says, y'all hit that thumbs up like button. And honestly, guys, you can hit the thumbs down. I'm good. I am confident in myself that it does not scare me if you guys want to hit that thumbs down. I do not mind. YouTube will still count it as though you were liking my content because you reacted to it. I'm not going to be disappointed. All right. So now that I got the section unstitched and restitched it back in, I'm going to go ahead and start working on my way back. So I've already got the cornerstone sewn onto that first strip piece. And now I'm going to get the sashing strip sewn on here. I cannot, and I don't know who you guys are with me, I cannot mentally process sewing 4 pieces of sashing on one piece and not sewing any sashing on another piece. Like, I can't process, like, I don't know how to process when you're doing a quilt like this, like the sampler kind of style quilts. I can't process how to assemble them aside from doing this. I do not know what in the world I'm doing in order to do it. I do hope I have enough sashing pieces. I did count. You'll go look in a minute. Okay, awesome. So Jess is going to beat me there. Oh well. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right. So now this row that I'm doing right now is all sashing pieces and cornerstones. And once I get to this next row after this, I'm going to have to move my ironing board out of the way because it's going to be too close. So I'm going to have to move it out of the way so that my quilt pieces can start hanging off the side of the machine because they're going to be big. They're going to be big. I did cut all my sashing strips, the 14 inches to match my blocks. And I cut all the cornerstones at 3 inches to match the sashing width. Let's see. Katie says that she'd like to do a 1.5 inch border around it, but wondering if that will make it harder to bind by doing that. Not necessarily. When you are, because I know the pattern you're working on, I would not think if you are doing a border, because that is if you're doing a 1.5 inch border, you're going to lose 1/4 inch sewing it to, are you doing a 1.5 inch finished border, or are you cutting your strip 1.5 inches, Katie? Because if you're cutting your strip 2 inches to have a 1.5 inch finished, you're going to have 1 3/4, and then when you sew that 1/4 inch or even 3/8 inch seam for your binding, then you're going to have plenty of room to do that. And the good thing about doing a border like that is it will prevent you from having seams come apart at the edge of your quilt. That is one thing that you do want to make sure of. If you've got seams headed towards the edge of your quilt, take the extra 5 minutes that it takes, put your machine on a basting stitch, like the very longest stitch that you can stitch, and sew a stitching line all the way around that quilt. And even if it is like a 1/2 inch in, I do mine at 1/4 or 1/8. But if you have to do it a 1/2 inch in, do it a 1/2 inch in. You want to just tack everything in place and prevent it from stretching while you quilt it. So it's really important to do that on some quilts. And I think that one's going to be a good one that you're going to need to do that on. It'll reduce it to 1 inch by the time you bind it. Okay, yeah, no, that's still good. So you're cutting the strips at 1.5. Yeah, you'll still have plenty of room. And that would actually be perfect, especially if you're using an offset color, like something that isn't already in the quilt, because that's going to frame it. You definitely, like, that quilt would be perfect to have some framing. It would absolutely work. Absolutely work. To have some framing on it. So it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. All right. So what I've got so far is I've got my cornerstones, and then I've got my initial sashing pieces on the whole row. Okay, so the next piece I'm going to start adding is my next row. And so I'm going to start with that 3 inch by 14 inch sashing piece. And then I will grab my next block off the wall. I thought I'd do it like a picture frame. Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what it would do. When I go to add borders, I do like to add a very narrow border when I can, because it does tend to frame. It does tend to frame things very well. All right, so we're doing it this way. And this is one of the wonky blocks. So you guys can see that outside sashing is like really thin here, really thick here. And I did cut it that way. I intentionally cut it that way. I wanted to give the quilt a little bit more visual interest. And let me trim this real quick. This is my sashing seam allowance. I let my sashing overrun a little bit, and I did not trim that down at all. I literally was finishing this within an hour before we were starting. My husband came in here. He's like, you've got your live at 8. I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, it's already 7:30. You got to go get your hair ready. I'm like, I have time. I have time. Rob is here. Welcome. It's a late night for you, sir. Welcome. Glad you made it into the chat. Thank you. Let's see. He says, hello, Tammy and everyone. Yay. We are working on finishing up a project that I have had this since 2011. That's when we started this project. Is 2011, and it's been a UFO since 2012. Like, it was supposed to be finished in 2012. Obviously, it wasn't. I started this as a teaching course on quilting techniques, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I was way over my head, and my students at the time ended up paying the price for that, because obviously I never finished teaching the quilt. And I did give them all pictures of what the finished quilt was going to look like and all of that after everything was said and done, but I really left them hanging. So I feel bad about it. There is not really a good way for me to go reach out to all of them. I do not have those records anymore. I've been through a divorce, 9 moves, and loss of the computer equipment where the information would have been stored. So I have no way to know where my students are, if they still have their quilt pieces. Like, I have no information to be able to help anybody out. So it is what it is. All right. The spool block is not cut wonky. I did kind of cut it straight. Isn't it cute? Isn't it cute? All right. Do I want it to go this way, or do I want it to go that way? I don't think it's going to matter. It's going to go in here whichever way it goes in here. Glenda is asking Rob how he's doing. Excellent question. Inquiring minds want to know. You guys, I love these Sunday nights, these after sunset Sundays. It's just a fantastic time to wind down and spend some time hanging out and just feeling like we got something accomplished. Even if we didn't get a whole lot accomplished, You know, getting something accomplished is better than nothing, right? That's what we're going to go with. Something accomplished is better than nothing. Now, I will say this. I have gotten some other stuff to sleepy. Not sure how long I'll stay awake. I understand, Rob. We understand, sir. Just glad you made it. Just very glad you made it. You and Chloe are on that same time zone. You guys are up late with me. I love this, this Sunday evening because it's a recharge. It's a relax and recharge, and, you know, even if we don't get a whole lot of progress done, every stitch is a step in the right direction. So I count that as progress either way. That's how I look at it. Every stitch is a step in the right direction towards getting something accomplished. So, you know, I don't ever count it as a bad thing. So this week on Monday, I got gifted some Please Don't Make Me Take It Back Home stuff. Somebody brought it to the quilt meeting I was at. And when somebody brings stuff, and I call it the Please Don't Let Me Take It Home stuff, they bring a box or a couple of boxes or oversized bags. You know, they bring stuff out of their sewing room, out of their quilt studio. And it's just something that they want to no longer look at ever again. Like, they have no intentions of ever doing anything with it. They don't want to see it. They want to not ever think about it. This one is also cut wonky, guys. It's not very obvious that it's cut wonky, but it is cut wonky. I have lost points on this. They're not as substantial as some of my other lost points, but they have been lost. Lori says she is back. Big night for her son. Just waiting for the call. Not a baby. Oh, gosh. Well, whatever it is, we're going to be rooting for you to get that phone call while we're on the live so you can tell us. Whatever the good news is. Whatever the big news is. We'll say it that way. Whatever the big news is, we are going to root for you to get that phone call. It is always nerve-wracking when you are waiting on a phone call. Whether it's, you know, you're waiting for the, you know, lottery, or you're waiting for the baby, or you're waiting for whatever you're waiting for. It's always nerve-wracking. Always nerve-wracking. All right. And it doesn't matter which direction I put this on here, but I'm gonna spin it. Fingers crossed, Lori, says Chloe. I agree. I got toes crossed. Does that help? Do toes count? In the fingers crossed business, do toes count? It's still beautiful, Tammy. They all are. Thank you. And Pam has joined the chat. She says, good evening, Tammy. And all, thank you, Pam. Glad you're here. Yeah, thank you, Glenda. Yeah, I loved the fabrics when I put this together back in 2011. So these were the popular colors that I picked out at Hancock Fabrics. And I don't know why I thought that I had to have 6 of one and 6 of the other. Like, I don't know why. Like, I've got the brown and green blocks, and then I've got the pink and purple blocks. I have no idea why I did that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I think all my customers, my clients for my class, I think they all picked along the same lines. You know, picking 6 colors for one set and 6 colors for the other. I think that's what I told them to do. So I kind of feel responsible for whatever all of these would come out to looking like. So I'm quite sure that one of my customers has this in their UFO, their UFO box. And they are probably upset with me and cursing the day they met me because I never finished it with them. Lori says he makes guitars and his is being played at a huge concert. Oh, that is insanely exciting. Wow. I have a friend who just went to a concert in Vegas. He went to a concert in May, and then he went to a concert again Friday night, I believe. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be Friday night. And I can just imagine that the concerts are exciting. It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of noise. But that is exciting. Oh. Yeah, that's a call to definitely want to know. Now, is he getting to watch the concert that his guitar is being played at? Or is this like it's traveled across the country to make that concert for tonight? Oh, I get chills thinking about that. Like that's like having one of our quilts heavy metal band called Slayer reunion tour 3 shows. Oh, cool. Very cool. I don't think that I've heard of them, but that doesn't mean anything. I did not grow up in the age of I technically grew up in the age of heavy metal, but I really didn't have anybody in my life that listened to it, so I wasn't exposed to it the same way I was exposed to a lot of other genres. I listened to more grunge and things like that than heavy metal, so and I don't think my brother even listened to heavy metal when I was growing up. I think I would have been exposed to it if he'd been listening to it. My parents definitely did not. My parents were oldies and country, and I grew up on Alan Jackson and Garth Brooks, and the 90s heavy classics. I mean, some of it was 80s, but I mean, I did grow up with the Judds, and yeah. But that is still exciting. That's so exciting for him. That's like if one of our quilts makes it to a quilt show, guys. If one of my quilts made it to Paducah, oh my gosh, I would be on pins and needles. Paducah is a juried show, so you send pictures in advance, and then they tell you, yes, we want you to have your quilt in our show. Sorry, not this time. It's you get one answer or the other for a juried show like Paducah. But oh my gosh, if I could get into Paducah, that would be the equivalent to what Lori's son is dealing with. Gary Holt's son's friend. Gary Holt, a 10-year-old girl on America's Got Talent. Oh, okay. I have no idea. My husband might know that. I am a music buff. My husband is not, but my husband loves like the America's Got Talent and what is it? The Voice, things like that. My husband loves those shows. I'll watch them with him, but I don't have to like plan my schedule around being home when they're on. Like that is not the be all and end all for me. I love good music. And like when I watch those shows with my husband, he knows very few of the current songs. I know more of the current songs that they're singing than he knows. And I'll go, "Oh, they're doing a good version of that." And he's like, "You know this song?" It's like, "Yeah, I know this song." I'm that kind of music buff. I listen to it and I like it, or I listen to it and I'm not really fond of it, but I appreciate it for its quality or not. Let's do it, girl. Paducah 2025. Oh, no, it's not going to be ready by then. I can guarantee you. I love the drive, though, Jess. It will not be 2025 because that would be April, and I do not have anything that will be ready by then. My next quilt that will be ready for show is going to be August of 2025. So it would be Paducah 2026. Now, 2016 was the 25th anniversary, so 2026 will be their 35th anniversary. So we could make, 2026 like anniversary year too. How do I know that? I have a magnet from Paducah. I have a magnet sitting on my fridge, guys. From Paducah 2016. It was like 25th anniversary. That is what I am good for. I'm good for the useless trivia that nobody else knows off the top of their head. Now, don't ask me what year their 50th anniversary is because I cannot do the math. I think it's, okay, if 2016 was 25, so 25 added to it. Devil on Drugs music. Oh, she likes Metallica, not as heavy. I'm quilting as I wait. No worries, Lori. I like that. Devil on Drugs music. I have some people I can upset with that one. They'll love it. Or I'll love it. I'll say it that way. I'll love it. Alright, so this is the next block going in. If I pull a block and I forget to show you guys what block I'm pulling to put in here, by all means, stop me. By all means, please stop me. I don't want you guys to miss these blocks. I'm not trying to hide them. No matter how bad they need to be hidden behind a cabinet somewhere. This is going to be like the back of a much better quilt. Like, this is going to be the fancy back to a good quilt, right? That's what we're going to hope for. Nah, I'm just joking. I'm kind of proud of myself for getting this UFO out and actually working on it and not putting it back away, and putting it towards getting it done. Like, I'm not, as much as I don't think this quilt is that spectacular, it does really show my history. And it kind of shows where I was way back when, and how much I had to learn. I had a lot to learn. Alright. It is starting to get heavy over here, and I am only 2 rows in. Or I'm sewing 3rd row. Okay, I'm not doing too bad. I'm adding row 3. But it is definitely hanging and dragging, but these are 14-inch blocks, so they're going to do that. Now, I did discover something today. I am going to probably be putting the Creative Grids quilting ruler on my wish list, the really big one, so that I can actually put stuff together that's this big. The ruler that I was using is one of my Nifty Notions rulers. Now, it is an even 14-inch ruler, so I love it for its size. You know, I can just put it on here, not even have to worry about how much I have to square it up or anything. It's, you know, Chloe says, okay, now I need to rip a seam. When I do foundation paper piecing, Chloe, I sew with a 1.5 or 1.7. So I sew with a very, very tight seam allowance or stitching distance. So my normal stitching seam, the setting on this machine is 2.5. And so I sew with a 1.5 or 1.7 or 1.5. What size ruler? So the Nifty Notions one that I was using today is a 14-inch square. So I'm thinking that maybe getting... Oh, no, I don't sew with a 1.4. I don't go that tiny. I do stop at 1.7 or 1.5. I will go down to a 1.5. I don't go below that because then when you start going below that, the paper will automatically rip away before you want it to. I have found kind of the happy medium for my machines, at least, or my papers that I've worked with. And this is even working with printer paper and copier paper. My happy medium is like 1.5. Oh, okay. She said her normal is 2. Yeah. Now, my machine, this machine is set to a 2.5. That is its automatic. My other machine, I think, is also set to a 2.5. I think Ricky is set to a 2.5. And that is factory set. It's not It's not my custom. It's not anything I've done to adjust it. Now, there is a set of stitches in the Bernina machine that I have. And they're supposedly the stitches that quilters are supposed to use to sew their seams. I'm not really thrilled with them because it does also change your tension. So it actually loosens the tension a bit. So I don't actually use the quilting stitches per se. I use just a standard, this is the everyday stitch kind of setting. So you have a June Taylor paper piecing sheets, like an interfacing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now that's going to be so hard to rip. I am so sorry. That is awful to have to rip into. Now when I do foundation paper piecing, I am doing it on paper. One way or the other. Even if it is like the wash away paper or something, it is always on paper for me. And I found that the 1.5 is about as far as I can push it before the pieces try to start giving in. Like before the paper starts like pulling away. So with my pattern, I'm going to recommend that. Chloe says, live and learn. Yeah, there is that too. The pattern that I'm using right now for that temperature quilt, I actually ran off copies at Staples. So this is the paper that was in their copy machine. And they refused to put in any fancy paper. So even if I took foundation paper, piecing paper with me, they would not put it in their copier machine and run on it. And I don't know if that's like a company policy or what it is, but they would not run on it. So I had to just accept that I was going to end up on their paper, and it is what it is. So, all right, next row of sashing pieces, and it is starting to get heavy. So now I've got 3 rows on here, and we're going to have 1 more row to go after the sashing, and then we'll have another row of sashing to add to the top. But that's okay. That is what this night is for. Live and learn. That is absolutely what we are doing tonight. I hope that this pink does not look awful next to all of these colors, and I hope it doesn't look awful as cornerstones. I did not audition it. I just decided that that's what I was going to do. And so if it's super bright or stands out too much, it is what it is. That is my live and learn for this project. I'm not going back and fixing it. I'm not making adjustments. It is going to be what I've already cut, and it's just going to be pieced. Like I knew I didn't want to put that much pink in the center of the quilt because it already has so much rose and magenta or burgundy and all of that. So I didn't want to put it any more in the center. But I definitely was not planning on running out of all these fabrics, so I have no idea. I don't know if I've used some of these fabrics in other projects. Like, I could have absolutely used some of that in something else, and I have no idea. I just have what I have left. That is all I have to say for that. It is what I have left. And this cream was what I pulled off the shelf. You guys said that a neutral would look really good, so that's what we went with. And so this is on you guys if this doesn't look good. No, I'm just kidding. It's not on you guys, I promise. We have 20 people watching. Yay! I'm glad you guys are here tonight. Thank you for being here, and thank you for hanging out. Sundays are definitely the let your hair down, be a little, be a little off topic. You know, you can talk about anything and everything tonight. It's not limited to just sewing and quilting. I like Sundays to be kind of this recharge time, because, you know, we're going to wake up Monday morning and have to go back to our normal lives. And Chloe says that she likes the pink fabric. I do too. I'm just not sure. Like, it's bright. Now that I'm, like, looking at it and, you know, really seeing it, it is bright. Especially against this cream sashing. I'm going to have to figure out a good picture for this so you guys can actually see the pattern on it. It's kind of what I would envision cream wallpaper. Deb is going to bed. Good night, Deb. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Hit that thumbs up on your way out if you haven't already, because I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love that you guys give me on my lives. I appreciate it. We've got our last class this Tuesday. I do have more information. So, on the pattern that I'm going to issue out, I am going to issue it out on a platform called Patreon. If you guys have not heard of Patreon, it is another creator website. A lot of people do use it similar to YouTube. So if I wanted to, I could post videos up on Patreon instead of posting them here on YouTube. Would I probably get the traffic that I do here on YouTube? No, probably not. But I can list my pattern on Patreon's website, because it's going to be a digital download. I can list that on the Patreon website, and the purchasable one, you guys, you know, can purchase it there, and I can set whatever price I want for it there. I'm going to have to make sure if there's any fees or whatever. I don't think there is, but I'll double check. I've had my Patreon site for years. I've had my Patreon site since this quilt was in progress. So, like, we're talking over 10 years. So I have had that site up and going for a long time. I have not revamped it in a really long time. My picture on the Patreon website, guys, is a model wearing some scrubs that I made. And I was showing off the sewing skill of making the scrubs. At the time, I thought I was going to go kind of the direction where Donnell is. If you guys don't know, you know, you can go, when you watch one of Donnell's videos, she frequently has like sales of her craft fair type items. She makes things to sell. And I originally thought that I was going to kind of go that route with my sewing craft. I thought that that's where I needed to be. And here's the spool block. I kind of like this. It is not perfect. It is definitely not perfect. But I do kind of like it. So originally, when I stopped working at the store and running a sewing machine store, I honestly thought the next chapter for me was going to be making craft items and selling those at craft fairs. So pot holders, bookmarks. I would have definitely been on the bowl cozy craze, you know, had I kept with it. Like if I'd actually, I really didn't want to go that route. I wanted to do custom things. I didn't want to do mass production. I realized very quickly that mass production wasn't in my DNA. I can mass produce something. I can, like, if I wanted to, this quilt behind me, I could make 300 of those. But would I be able to sell 300 of them? I don't know. I don't enjoy This is kind of where my process stopped. I don't enjoy the process of trying to convince people that my prices are fair. So, this quilt that I'm putting together right now, I may sell it for super cheap because even though I have a lot of time invested in it, even though there's a lot of fabric involved, all of this other, and especially because it is not perfect. It is far from perfect. But if I were to mass produce this, I'd be so stinking bored. And yeah, Chloe's got it. She's like, mass production is boring. Yes, it is. Yes, Sean, I am live. Welcome in, sir. You are catching as we are getting down to the last few blocks. We are putting together a quilt top tonight. This is a UFO finish from 2011. This block is cut wonky. This is the one with the funky fabrics. Okay, so this brown is in this quilt. This green is in this quilt. This fabric right here is nowhere else in the quilt. Somehow, somewhere along the lines, I put it with this quilt. I don't know if I was originally planning to purchase it and that's why it ended up with a quilt. I bought a sample of it and just decided not to use a whole lot of it. I have no idea. But I didn't have enough of anything else aside from that bright pink that I'm using for the cornerstones, and I'm not putting that in any of the blocks. That is intentionally not going in the blocks. So I didn't want to sash it with that to make it the right size. Sean, this project, I started it in 2011, and I designed it to be able to teach other quilters how to quilt. Yes, he is, Katie. I agree. She says that you're up late, Sean. But I designed it originally to teach other quilters how to quilt. Getting ready for bed. It's like, you are up late too, Katie. Yeah, we all are. We all are. Of course, it's only 8:52 here, so it's not even 9 o'clock here. So I'm not up as late as some of you guys. I'm definitely not up as late. She spent too long in front of the sewing machine. Oh gosh, Katie, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to take a break, stretch, take the dogs, get moving for a little bit before you come back to it. I had to do that 4 times yesterday. And then I finally gave up about 7 o'clock yesterday. I gave up. I was so tired of ripping stitching on that quilt that I was quilting. I just gave up for a little bit. I was like, I will do this later. All right. Good question. When does Nico get home? Says Linda, asking Katie. Very good question. I think he gets home in October. Yeah, October 11th. Woohoo! Sean has 2 dogs sleeping on him right now. Oh, I had to kick mine out because I knew he wasn't going to behave. So I warned my husband. I was like, he's gonna get kicked out of here. He's not gonna get to stay in here tonight. And so when I went to start closing the door, of course the dog is looking at my studio, going, "I want to be in there with Mom." And even my husband was like, "Nope, you're not going in there." I think I have enough sashing. Nope, I may not have enough sashing. I only have 3 strips left. Is that 1, 2? I am 1 strip short somehow, somewhere. I thought I counted correctly. So we may not have a finish. I don't know. I will see if one of those strip pieces is long enough, and if it is, we have sashing. Because I did cut, I thought I cut enough, but apparently I miscounted, or I bet you somewhere along the lines I sewed 2 strips in. Oh, Sean says that his dogs are asleep when he's live, which is nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic when they sleep through. We took ours to the park about 3 o'clock. or about 2:30 maybe, and ran him really hard. So he came home, and as soon as I settled in a place, he settled and slept. But then he woke up from his nap. That was my problem, is we should have waited and taken him a little bit later, so that he would sleep through my live. But no, we took him a little too early for that. So that's on me, or on us. Yeah, because I need 4 pieces of sashing, and I only have 3. And I swore that I counted correctly. So I bet you guys, if nothing else, because I did it earlier, I sewed 2 strips into one place. So I bet you that I've done it again. Oh, Glenda says, only 20 more days. Maybe it'll fly by quick. I hope so. We're ready to see Nico back home. He'll be home for just 6 weeks this go around. Yeah, but 6 weeks is still 6 weeks. That is still, it's not the most amount of time, but at least you get that much. I know when my husband was working truck driving, we did not get him home that much. There was no time that he was home that length of time. He might be gone longer, but he was definitely not home that length of time. Did I sew an extra strip in here? I'm bugged, guys. I'm bugged. Did I sew an extra strip? I probably did. We'll find it later. Sean says, time to turn in. I'll chat with you all later. Absolutely, Sean. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure to hit that thumbs up if you haven't. Yeah, the likelihood that I have sewn an extra strip in here somewhere is pretty high. That or I miscounted. I could have totally miscounted how many I needed. I know I cut 20 strips. So I probably miscounted how many strips I needed. That's what I'm going to guess is going on. At least that's my story right now, is that I miscounted. Awesome, Sean. Thank you. You have a good evening. I will have to try to get up early on Saturday, because then once I go live this Saturday, I will not have time to catch any of my content creators until after Sunday night is done, because this upcoming weekend, this next weekend, is our retreat, our Zoom retreat. So I'll go live Saturday morning. I'll get off my live on time. Susie is also falling asleep, so I'll say goodnight. Absolutely, Susie. Thank you for being here, sweetie. You have a good one. Sleep well. So what was I going to say? But I will get off my live, and then within an hour I will get that the Zoom going, and everybody will already have the links for it, but I won't actually be in the room until an hour after my live. Then after I get in there, we're going to stay live on that Zoom. It won't be live on YouTube. It'll be just live in the Zoom chat, the Zoom room. So nobody outside of Zoom will be able to see. If you guys do want to sign up, if you haven't already, the link is in the description box below this video. So you guys can click and sign up for the Zoom. Jess says, yes, it's 11 p.m. See you soon. Yep. Yeah, we're going to have fun Tuesday. We're going to have fun. I think I'm going to show you guys what I've gotten accomplished. I think that's one of the conversations we're going to have Tuesday. Trying to think of what else I've got planned for Tuesday. You have a good night, Jess. Thank you. I'm going to put this one in here. This one's less starched than the other one. I don't want the less starched one to be on the end of the quilt. So let me grab, I'm going to need that other sashing strip. So let me grab a sashing piece. We're going to see if it's long enough. And if not, I do have more fabric I can cut. So I just laid my fabric on top of each other, and this is the section with the fold on it. So if this is 14 inches, at least. Ooh, right at 14, it looks like. So maybe a little big, but I can trim that down. So we do have enough sashing either way. And I will find the duplicate in here as we are going back through and sewing across everything. So, FPP is slow going for me. Time to switch gears. Yeah, FPP is slow going for everyone, Chloe. You are not alone in that. I am going pretty fast at mine, but I am also strip piecing my foundation paper piecing. There is a way to do it. Most people do not end up feeling comfortable strip piecing foundation paper piecing, but especially when you're piecing a lot of the same kinds of things, it's a lot easier. If you're just putting together 1 or 2 blocks of something, it doesn't save you anything to strip piece. Actually, guys, that piece was exactly 14 inches, so we are good. And I dropped that square. So this is the last square going on here. And then we are going to flip it. And we're going to sew these long seams. And I'm just going to finger press as I go. I'm going to finger press towards the sashing on the cornerstones. And I'm going to finger press towards the sashing on the block. So they will nest like this. So the cornerstone is going to go out. The block is going to go out. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. And I'm not even going to worry about picking the whole quilt up. I'm just pulling around what I need to pull around. That is all I'm going to worry about. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not, it's not rocket science. I don't want to take this to the ironing board, even though my ironing board is right here. I don't want to take this to the iron, and because everything is already pieced together, all I have to do is just make sure that I am matching those, seams. So when I come down here, this next seam, this is going to be, I'm going to match my sashing and cornerstone seam with my sashing and the edge of the block seam. So I'm going to ease the block in if the block is a little big and just work it that way. This is the wonderful thing about web piecing. Once you get the entire section sewn, aside from the fact that there is some weight to it and it does pull if you don't have enough table space, you don't have to worry about it coming apart or accidentally picking the wrong row and then having a whole lot to rip. You don't have to worry about all of that. That is one of the very, very nice things about doing it this way. Alright, so I'm going to finger press and make sure that my cornerstone is falling exactly where I want it to, and that it's lining up on either side of that sashing strip, and it is. So yeah, we will be done with this tonight. Yay! Because it's only 9 o'clock, guys. Or 9 o'clock here. I won't say it's 9 o'clock where you're at, but it's only 9 o'clock here. I might have time to show you guys the harvest quilt, depending on how long sewing this takes. It shouldn't take that long, but, and it'll also depend on how I'm feeling by the time we get there. Because I do want to add borders to this, and it is going to be with that pink. but I don't know how big I want my borders yet. I am waiting until this is all sewn together because I didn't even know what size sashing I was going to use until I measured my fabric and decided how many strips I could cut out of the piece of fabric I had. So I knew my blocks were 14 inches tall, and I knew I could get 2 of those from each with the fabric cut. So I measured my fabric, and my fabric was 42 inches, and I asked my Amazon device, what is, 42 divided by 15, because I knew I could get 2, so I needed to cut 15 strips. And that 15 was going to be the max I could cut, and she said it was 3.2 or something, so I just went with 3. So, and I do have a little bit of fabric left over, because 0.2 times 15 adds up. Glenda says, I tried web piecing but kept getting tangled up, so I'd marry anyone that can do it. Oh, I get tangled up. I definitely get tangled up. And the bigger the blocks, the harder it is. So if these blocks were like 5 inches, that would be absolute perfect size. If you guys remember here's the angle quilt, those were 6-inch blocks. I think 6-inch finished. No, 6-inch. And then 5.5-inch finished, I believe. That one was super easy to web piece because you have seams really close together. This 14 inches across for your seams is definitely tough. It is not for the faint of heart. It is getting hung up. It's getting tangled. It's like the rest of it is hanging off the machine, and it is catching because my table is limited size. It's not, one of those massive, 48-inch tables or something like that. It's not that big. It's small enough that I can take it with me to quilt retreats or to sewing days or whatever. So it's a fairly small table. And yeah, all of this absolutely falls off the table, and it's because it's 14 inches between these seams, between these sets of seams. It is definitely getting tangled and hung. So I'm spending a lot of time fixing it. And, this would be one of those that it wouldn't be a bad idea to pin it because you're trying to match these cornerstones. And if you do stretch things, or if the, quilt pulling is stretching it, it could cause some distortion. Because this quilt is what it is specifically, I'm not super worried about it. This quilt already has so many imperfections in it. Another imperfection isn't going to mean the end of the world for it. It is thoroughly accepted its fate and position in life. It has not determined itself to be a show quilt. It's not going to be anything fancy. It is solely one of those, make it to gift it to cuddle with it kind of quilts. That is all that this quilt is. And that's all it's going to be. All right, so now that I've got that section pieced, what I'm going to do, instead of trying to flip this and put it on top of my sashing, I am going to take and turn it, and that way my sashing is still on top of my block. When you are doing something like this, even with smaller blocks, it is definitely a better choice to have your bigger fabric on bottom because it will give you a little bit more stability. It's not going to be by much on this quilt, okay? This one's the lone holdout for everything. But it's going to just give just a little bit more to grab onto. And you're not going to have to be searching to see if your sashing is lining up with your block, because you're going to be able to see your block underneath your sashing. You don't necessarily have to do this with all of them, but especially with as big as these blocks are, this is the more efficient way to do the piecing on the sashing when your blocks are this big. Because it really does, help put it together. So what I'm doing back here that you guys can't see on either of the cameras is I am going ahead and lining up my next cornerstone and sashing so that I am holding on to that. My hands aren't going to be on the table until this is closer to the machine. Okay? So I'm just lining that up and holding it. Now, if you like to pin, you absolutely can pin. This would be the place to pin. I do not pin. You guys know this. It has to be something majorly important for me to pin. I did almost take a picture the other day. I was working on putting the borders on my client's quilts, and I was pinning. I almost took my phone out and took a picture and posted it on YouTube so you guys could see that I do own pins and I do know how to use them. But I was in such a rush at the time. I was like, no, I really don't have time to do that. I need to just get this done. But you guys won't believe that I was actually using pins, but I was using pins. Shocker of all shockers, I was using pins. Oh. I will be glad that this will be complete. Even though it's not quilted or layered or even borders. I'm still going to have to add borders. But I will be glad to feel like something is complete. Even though that harvest quilt is quilted, I didn't really feel completed on that. Susan says, hi, not going to stay on to watch. Didn't sleep well. Back started hurting yesterday. Oh no! Getting comfortable enough after the struggle to get out of bed, to use the bathroom, couldn't sleep again. Oh, you are fine, Susan. Absolutely fine. I hope you feel better soon. My husband woke up not feeling too fantastic with his back either. He has some chronic back issues from his military service, and so occasionally his back will start acting up. And as the weather changes, it tends to act up a little bit more, at least initially until the weather settles. So I feel for you. But thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Glenda is saying hello to Susan and prayers. Absolutely. I think we all need them. The weather is finally changing here. And Chloe says hello to Susan and sorry to hear you're not feeling well. I agree. We want all of our people to be feeling well. I know that Andrea was going to try to make it into the live tonight, and I told her earlier today, I was like, I wasn't expecting you to be here. I fully expect that you are going to need some more rest. So there's a lot of everybody who is out or not feeling fantastic right now. So I am with all of you guys on that. Right now I am... Yes, right? Chloe says, hope you feel better soon. Back pain is the worst. Yes, it absolutely is. Back pain issues is actually what started my medical problem, so I understand. Susan says a friend has COVID and said she is also dealing with back hurt. Oh no, that's like a double whammy. That's awful. Gosh. Oh, we're going to be praying. We're going to be doing a lot of praying, you guys. We need to keep everybody in the quilting circle here in prayer because we're all getting dealt the blows lately. That's not fun. Not fun at all. Oh, good. Susan said that she is going to urgent care in the morning. Good. Yeah, because you want to make sure that it is not anything permanent and not anything that needs urgent attention as far as a problem that you can't see. That is always my first concern with back pain is it just muscles or is it something worse? Susan says good night. Chloe says, oh Susan, I hope you find some relief. I agree with you, Chloe. I agree. Of course, I realize my video is 30 seconds behind what you guys are chatting. So I know it comes up a few seconds, very many few seconds later. It's like sitting at the microwave waiting for something to ding. Kind of waiting time. I feel bad because there's nothing I can do about that. I can't speed it up. Not with my software. Not with the way YouTube is working. YouTube does not give us the all-powerful tools to do everything. I wish they did, but they don't. Alright. Now, we have actually been able to, amazingly enough, open our windows at night lately. It's been getting down into the 40s and 30s. Susan says, thank you all. As a single person, you guys are my support. Absolutely. Anytime, Susan. Anytime. You have a network here. You absolutely do. You absolutely do. So we've been able to open our windows at night. My downstairs neighbor keeps her apartment really, really warm. So us opening our window at night and it getting to, 40s or 30s outside, it is still not even dropping below 60 in the apartment ever. It won't until later in the winter. It'll finally start dropping low enough. But we're finally able to open our windows and save some electricity right now. Our electricity costs have been through the roof. The electric company thinks that we're all made of money. So, alright, I'm going to swap this back around. So we're going back the same direction we were going. Again, we're going to put the block on bottom. Glenda says I'd be freezing in those temps. Oh, it's actually not bad. It is not bad at all. Now, one thing that we do have, and this helps my husband more than it does me. It does help me, but not... I don't use it as often as he does. We do have a queen size bed, so it's not a super big bed. But we have a queen size bed, and last year, I don't remember exactly when, but last year we bought a heating blanket. And we didn't do what everybody else does. A lot of people will go and buy a heated mattress pad, but we didn't want to spend that kind of money. So we bought a regular heating blanket, but it heats on each side separately. So my husband's side can be on and mine can be off. He needs the heat throughout the night. That helps him the most. I would bake. Absolutely bake. Even on low, I bake. If I'm not feeling fantastic, you know it, because then my side of the heating blanket is on 3 or 4 or higher. But we'll turn the heating blanket on, and we put it under the mattress pad, and so it warms the mattress. So we're getting into bed, getting into a warm bed, and then my side usually goes off. Kelly's Quilts and Cruises is here. She says, hey everyone, the kids just went home, so I just found this super late. That's okay. That is okay, Kelly. Glad you were here, sweetie. Yeah, this is our every Sunday night thing. We come out here and we are, early, like during the summer, you guys actually get a little bit blinded, or I get blinded by the sunset, because it comes straight into my window and like lights up my door and all of that. But during the winter, like it's already getting earlier and earlier. So sunset is before I even get on here on Sunday nights. So you guys aren't even seeing sunset anymore. So it is truly after sunset that we get on here. And we come and hang out for a couple of hours usually. It's very rare that I end it early. So we are usually here for a couple of hours every Sunday night. Awesome. Katie and Kelly are exchanging how everybody is doing. Fantastic. fantastic. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm over here wrestling with these 14-inch blocks. Okay, so you guys are used to me sewing small things. This is why I don't normally sew big things. Like, I sew big quilts. Absolutely sew big quilts. But I sew small pieces normally. This is not my normal. I don't normally make quilts with this big of blocks. Let's see. Oh, 20-something kids, says Kelly. Oh, gosh. That's a big family, Kelly. I could not imagine. Could not imagine. It was me and my brother, and in order for us to have that many kids anywhere, it would have to be all of the grandkids and then all of the nieces and nephews of my grandmother. Like, that would be the only way we'd have 20-something kids hanging around. I was in a small family. Now, my husband was in a big family. My husband is the youngest of 5, so he was in a big family. But I have never been in a big family. Like, we, even, being married to my husband, we're not really in a big family, per se. I bet that's a little chaotic. Lori is also saying hello to Kelly. Sorry, guys. I do have the window open in here, so I am getting a little bit of the outside air, and it takes my body a little to adjust to between air conditioning air and outside air. We have a daughter and son. Son's girlfriend is family now too. Oh yeah, absolutely. I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that. My stepdaughter has a half brother that is due to have a baby soon. So my stepdaughter, who is 14, is going to become an aunt soon. So, yeah, I understand about the adding family. Adding family happens a lot. a lot. How's the stitching coming along? Worked on Caroler's ornament a bit earlier today. Ooh. Alright. Whose channel is this stuff on? Where am I missing this? You guys gotta clue me in. You guys are my eyes and ears. You're my spies. You gotta tell me what I'm missing. Where are these Caroler's ornaments? Glenda says that she has electric blankets but can't use them because my fur babies will chew them up. I never thought to put it under the mattress. Good idea. Yeah, so we have the mattress, then we have the heating blanket, then we have a mattress pad on top of that. The mattress pad that we have is a cooling mattress pad. And that actually, it really helps me. The cooling does. But the heating does come through the cooling section. H-A-E-D. Okay, no, I'm not doing one of those. I have a long dog. I'm not doing an H-A-E-D. I also have a Scarlet Quince. I'm not adding that to my list. Oh, that's funny, Kelly. She says she sleeps in a nightie only. Hubby sleeps in a hoodie and sweatpants. When you're in the hotel or like when you're planning a trip to a hotel, and then you have to remember to pack pajamas in case the fire alarm goes off, that's me. I'm one of those. But my husband, he's always got socks on. Socks are a thing. It is a thing in our house. It is not me. It is my husband. He is very particular about his feet. So there are always socks on. And it's very rare that he strips down as much as I do to go to sleep. He can, but it's not very often. He is very much a let's bundle up kind of person when he sleeps. And what's really crazy about it, Glenda says, that's me, Kelly, with the sweatpants and hoodie. The only time I sleep with like sweatpants and hoodie or yoga pants and hoodie is if I'm not feeling good and I'm taking a nap during the day. That is when I sleep in that level of clothing. Beyond that, I am much less covered than my husband, and I will kick covers off. Like I am naturally, my body naturally compensates for the temperature. My husband, however, he will be freezing. He will be absolutely freezing, or he'll tell me he's freezing. But he is like a furnace. He will cuddle up to me, and I don't think he needs the heating blanket. Like, he is his own heating blanket. It's crazy. I don't get it. But, having the heating blanket on this bed, especially being on third floor in the winter here in Wyoming, we've got the heating blanket so his side can be on, my side can be off. So we're both comfortable. And, like, if I need to kick him to his side of the bed, I'll kick him to his side of the bed where the heating blanket is on. So that I can cool off on my side of the bed. And then in summer, I'm, like, always kicking the covers off. I can barely sleep under most covers because it's just, I like the weight, but I hate the warmth. Like, I cannot do it. Let's see. Kelly says that she roasts easily. Love menopause. Fun City. Not. I don't know if I'm there yet or not. I'm supposed to be finding out this week what my blood work says. Laura has joined the chat. Welcome in, Laura. She says, hi, team and everyone. Just about ready for bed. I saw you were live, so I thought I'd pop in and say hi. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget to hit that plus the thumb thing. You can hit it down or you can hit it up. Either one. I can't talk tonight. Kelly says if I had a heating blanket, I would have to sleep naked. Yeah, right? And then Glenda says, thankful I'm done with menopause. I looked at my doctor and I said, look, from what I've read, it can either be, what I'm dealing with right now could either be early perimenopause, like, starting the whole hot flashes and all of that. Or it could be something that we need to diagnose, like something that we need to look at. And she's like, well, she's like looking at the onset and like all my description of it. And she's like, this is really sudden onset of these hot flashes. So not quite sure. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it. So we're not sure if I'm hitting perimenopause or not. She was like explaining what the difference between perimenopause and regular menopause was. And like, I don't know if I'm there yet. But if I am, then so be it. It's fine. I will deal with it. But, I don't know if I'm there yet or not. So we'll find out. Rayanne just got back from picking our daughter up at the airport. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, Rayanne. Yay! You have had an exciting day then. A very exciting day. We are finishing up putting that 16-month quilt together, and I'm not going to put the borders on it tonight. Because I don't know what size borders I'm going to cut yet. But I think I've got enough for borders and binding out of that pink. Because I have quite a bit of that pink. So I don't know how big my borders are going to be yet. I will know that more after this is assembled and pressed. So I've got 2 more long seams to go. These long seams are taking a while. Kelly says, Tammy, I hope that everything is all good with you. I started the whole circus early when I was about 45. I will be 42. Okay. And for those of you who do not know, there is a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and 42 is the magic number that is the answer to life in the universe. I don't remember all the rest of the phrasing, but it got said amazingly enough, it got said on the show my husband and I were watching. And I had to stop and rewind. And I said, that's what I've been telling you about. It's like, oh, okay. But I will be the answer to the life and universe for the next year, starting with my birthday. I do not mind to admit it. And then after that year, I will go back to being 21 for the how many time. I will accept it for 1 year. Laura says, I felt like I've missed so much. I'm fly back to Arizona tomorrow and should be able to catch up on videos that I missed. Oh, no worries, Laura. So there is a Zoom. This is the next big thing coming up aside from Thursday's class. Thursday's class will be the last to finish up this bauble quilt. I've got to get some more sewing done before then. I was thinking about doing that tonight, and I decided that I really just needed something rewarding. So that's what this is. This is my rewarding project. But Thursday we're going to finish up this class, and then Saturday and Sunday, Saturday after my live in the morning, we are going to open up the Zoom retreat. And it is an all-weekend retreat. Starts after my live ends on Saturday morning, and then will end an hour before my live starts Sunday evening. So you guys will get to come hang out in my studio, come chat, come sew, come socialize, come ask questions, all of that stuff. And you guys will get to do it on audio, so you don't necessarily have to type what you're asking. You can ask. And it'll be all the other subscribers who have joined in for the Zoom. That'll be popping in and out throughout the entire time. So if you do want to sign up for that, you can. There's a link in the description box of this video so that you can sign up for the Zoom retreat. And I'm sure it's going to be quite a bit of fun. So next weekend I will be missing all of my other creators because after I go live, then we will be live. I will not have nap time until I go to sleep sometime in the middle of the night. But the Zoom will still be going. So you guys do not have to leave just because I'm going to bed. And I will be going to bed when the puppy tells me I have to go to bed. That's how we do it in this house. The puppy tells me, and then I go to bed. You guys may even see a random appearance from the Uber decorator here. I don't know if he's going to decorate after Thursday, or if he's going to wait until during the Zoom, or if he's going to wait until after the Zoom. So I cannot tell you. I do not know. He has not disclosed his plans. He just has plans. I just don't know them. And I do have some costuming ideas for what I'm going to do the last week of October. Have you guys ever used the spray-on hair dye stuff? Rob says he has to call it a night. Can't keep his eyes open. Have a blessed night, everyone. Absolutely, Rob. Get some good sleep, sir. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to hang out. Appreciate it. It is definitely late where you are. So, I picked up, Helen says, don't wear yourself out, right? I know. Laura says, I'd love to see with everyone, but we have an out-of-town wedding to go to next weekend. Oh, no. Well, I guess you're going to have to sign up for the next one then. Whenever I decide we're doing the next one. I've got to see how this one works first, and then we'll make plans going forward from there. That's the game plan right now for the Zooms, for the Zoom retreats. We're going to try it out for this one, and we will tweak and get everything fancied up and working better for the next one, and we'll do it again. Oh, but welcome into the chat, Helen. Thank you. Chloe says, yes, I have. You need more for dark hair. Yeah, I'm not planning to add a whole lot. Like, I'm planning to, like, whatever the bottle has in it is what I'm going to use. Like, whatever I can get out of it is what I'm going to do. Kelly is also going to have to be out. She says that they're super busy next weekend. Maybe another time. Absolutely. No worries. I just didn't know who all knew about it. Because if you haven't been able to catch my lives, I mean, you may not have heard. So that's why I'm telling you guys. No worries. No worries. I have been busy too. I was going to try to go to the quilt show this weekend. There was one in Torrington, Wyoming, and then there was another one. Yes, thank you, Helen. She says, thumbs up, people. Thank you, thank you. There was another one in another part of the state. I think near Newcastle, Wyoming. I'm not sure exactly what city that one was, but there was one in Torrington. And I was planning to go to it. It's been on my fridge. I really did want to go to it. But we are trying to conserve money. And it was just a trip to go see. And it would have been a lot of gas. So we had to bow out of going. So it is what it is. I have done a lot this weekend that I wouldn't have gotten done if we had gone, so that's okay. I guess we will take the trade-off. Everybody's saying hello and good night and all of this other stuff. You guys are so awesome. Thank you. Alright, once I get down to this bottom, we have one more long seam to go. And then you guys get to see what this looks like. I get to see what it looks like too. I haven't seen it all either. Alright, where's the seam? Where do I go? I know there's one more to go. There we go. Found it. Found the seam. Found the sashing strip. See? See? Found it. I do not know still. I have not found that extra sashing strip. So maybe I just miscounted how many I needed. But I could have sworn I counted correctly. So unless we find it on this last row, which is still possible, I do not know what happened to my extra sashing. It went somewhere. Either I miscounted or I didn't, or I have one missing. It's one or the other. And I think I will press this before I show you guys. So, I think that's what I'm going to do. I do have to say, I do like... Oh, you were at Hewlett by Devil's Tower. Oh, wow. I still have not been up there. I still have not gotten to Devil's Tower yet. And that was that quilt show. It was the Hewlett one, wasn't it? Is that the right city? I think that was the right city. Because I do remember seeing the advertisements for it. It was too much for me to try to get out of town. So, it is what it is. Alright. Chloe says, woohoo! She's done sewing for the night. She don't feel like she got a lot done, but at least you got something. That's exactly what Sunday nights are for. It is not a requirement that you finish anything. This is not going to be completely done. It is just going to be, the center is going to be pieced. That is all we are going for tonight. Is that the center will be pieced, so I will have had some stitches put in tonight. Obviously, the outside border is not on here. It's not going to be on here tonight. I will call it quits long before we get to that. And we will not have it quilted, and we will not have it bound. So, but I will have made progress. And that is what Sundays are about. Sundays are about hanging out, socializing, recharging, being ready for Monday morning, and not feeling like you didn't get any sewing time in. Sundays are about being calm, having that moment. I love my Sundays. I love my Sundays. They are a fantastic way to end out the busy weekend and be ready for Monday. Even if you don't actually have a normal weekend. Like when I worked retail, I did not have a standard weekend. But absolutely something like this, perfect thing to rest and recharge with and get me going to handle the rest of the week. Laura says, yes, I wish I could make it, but the son of our best friends is getting married on Saturday. We're invited to all the events happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Oh, yes, you are going to be exhausted. And you just barely got out of the hospital recently. Goodness. You are borrowing future energy, sweetheart. I apologize if you don't want me calling you sweetheart, but you're borrowing future energy. Oh, I do that a lot myself, though. I won't fault you for doing it. I'm just saying that that's what you're doing. Yeah, I told Andrea not to worry about, making sure she was here for a pattern or anything like that tonight, because I knew she needs some rest too. I knew she was going to take a nap earlier, and she might make it, and she might not. So I knew I wasn't planning for her to make it. So yeah, we can go either way. Right, Chloe? She says, have fun, Laura. Enjoy the events and memories. That is absolutely what she needs to do. All right, machine is off. We are going to press. And let me move things off of my ironing board so I can move my ironing board. I leaned my keyboard up against it. All right, so we're going to move the iron over here. So that way I have more room. Are you guys excited to see this now? Let me take you guys off of the machine so you're not sitting there looking at that all night. All right. This is going to look pretty. It's going to look so pretty. Once I get the direction correct, so I know which way I am pressing. All right. Get that last sashing row out. Oh, it is as long as my ironing board it's as wide as my ironing board is long. Let's see. Kelly says, sounds wonderful, Laura. Our friend's daughter is getting married on Thursday. And Chloe, they're both in our wedding, and the memories are so precious. Yes, I bet they are, Laura. That is amazing. Yeah, when you've got a lot of time invested in people, the memories are the most precious part of that. The memories definitely are worth it. Not to say it won't be exhausting, but Chloe says she's excited to see. I am too. Like, I'm seeing it here, but I'm not seeing it, stretched out yet, so it is definitely as wide as my ironing board is long. All right, I'm going to move the machine up with my foot and move the ironing board over a little bit so I can see kind of what I'm doing a little bit better. All right, so I need to press this one out here if I can get out there with it. It doesn't want to lay on my ironing board because my ironing board is not long enough for this. And this is the 3-block wide side. I'm not even doing the 4-block wide side. All right, so let's see. Kelly, September seems to be a popular month for weddings. Our anniversary was September 1st. Oh, that's exciting, Laura. Happy belated anniversary. My husband and I got married in January, and his birthday is at the end of August, and we don't have any kids with birthdays in September. September's not our family's. Is not our family's dates. Now, my first marriage, I was supposed to get married in September. That's not what happened, but that was the original plan. I think things would have been different if we'd done that. But that's okay. It is what it is. This wonky block is throwing me, guys. I cut these blocks on the sashing wonky, and it is throwing me. I'm looking at it going, is the quilt straight? Yep, the quilt is straight. It's just my block is wonky. It's supposed to be, but it is throwing me. All right. I think you guys chose well when you told me to go neutral. I think you really chose a good option for me. So thank you. Kelly says, happy anniversary belatedly, Laura. Our friends got married on the 9th in 1995. You are correct. I would have gotten married on Labor Day weekend. My first ever engagement, we got married over Labor Day weekend, and we got engaged over Labor Day weekend. And we're supposed to get married the following Labor Day weekend before plans got changed on us. So we would have been September married as well. But my current husband and I, we got married in January and would not change that for the world. The only problem now is if we do a vow renewal, we can't do anything outside in January because we moved to Wyoming. So it's kind of put a damper on doing a vow renewal that we were planning to do, only because nobody wants to be outside in January here. Oh, Laura says that she and her husband were married in 1990. Daughter's birthday is on Tuesday the 24th. She is the maid of honor for her friend's wedding. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, all you guys with September stuff. That's so cool. So, my family growing up, the big month was October. It was absolutely October across the board. Me and two of my cousins were all born in October. I'm the youngest of the ones born in October, but we were all born in October. I take it back, my grandmother's birthday is in September, now that I think about it. But yeah, the rest of us, it was all October. We used to go to Olive Garden. My grandmother would take us to Olive Garden for a family celebration of all three of the October birthdays. And me and one of my cousins would fight over the breadsticks. Got married in 1995 too, but April 15th, we're going to Maui next spring for our 30th. Oh, that's exciting, Kelly. I have never been to Maui, but I've heard wonderful things about visiting Maui. I think if I went anywhere, my husband would want us to go to Alaska. Because I've been to Alaska, but he hasn't. I have not been to Hawaii, but he has. So those are the two states that, we each have to ourselves. Like, I have Alaska to myself, and he has Hawaii to himself. But we really don't have the option to travel to either of those places without flying, and flying is a bit more challenging with a service dog. So we haven't bothered with, any kind of plans to do any of that. And it also costs money, which is in short supply, thanks to the economy. Glenda, I agree. She says, wow, Kelly, sounds like fun. I agree. Definitely does sound like fun. Laura says that, Kelly, we were supposed to go there for our 30th, but COVID took... Oh, gosh. Yeah, COVID did take care of a lot of that kind of stuff. Traveling during COVID was not a walk in the park, because the walk in the park is about all you can do with COVID. Katie says that she wants to see Hawaii. And Kelly was supposed to go to Vegas for the 25th, but that was COVID too. Yeah, I haven't been to Vegas besides driving through Vegas, so I've never been to anything in Vegas. I would like to go. I've actually got a friend who just went to a concert in Vegas. But I've never been to Vegas in a passenger vehicle. I've only been through Vegas in a semi-truck. I'd like to see Alaska at some point. And at some point we're going to Thailand. Oh, that's exciting, Katie. For all of the nice things that I have heard about Thailand, I have no desire to go. Yeah, right, Chloe? Alaska is beautiful. She says she would like to go to Hawaii. I went on a photography trip when I was in college. That's how I got to go to Alaska. My photography class during the summer, you were getting credits for photography 1 and 2, and you were taking both courses while you were traveling Alaska and sightseeing. So my trip was fun, and it was very exhaustive. Like, we got to go a lot of cool places. But I was also there basically working when I was there. Like, I was a tourist kind of, but I was still doing a lot of things. Now for honeymoon, so 30 years later. Greenlandic friend is married to a Thai, and they built a house in Thailand. We're welcome together whenever we're ready. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I honestly have no desire to go to Thailand. I have no desire to go to China, Vietnam. I have no desire. And it's not anything against those countries or that part of the world. I have no desire to go to India either. Like, it's not even on my bucket list. A lot of those places they eat very rice-heavy meals. Like, their cuisine tends to be very heavy in rice. And I don't eat rice. So I just, like, it's never been interesting to me because I feel like the cuisine would be such a challenge for me. Okay, Chloe is going to bed. She says, good night, all. Good night, Chloe. Thank you for being here. You sleep well. Sleep well. Let's see. They're the same friends that has the boat that I went out on with this summer. Again, to do the iceberg and ice cap with us before I did the other excursion. Oh, that's exciting, Katie. That's very exciting. I'm trying to see which way my sashing went because I have a bubble in my sashing from the seam. So I was trying to figure out which way my seams went so I could fix my bubble in my sashing. Your videos are awesome, Katie, says Kelly. Good friends that have the boat. Yes. Agreed. I need some friends here locally that have a boat so I can go out and get on a lake somewhere. I would love to go kayaking on a lake somewhere. I'd love to go floating down the river. I still have not done that yet. I wanted to do it last summer when I first got here. Did not get a chance to. Didn't know anybody that was willing to go. And this summer is kind of getting too short now for a chance to go. I don't think anybody's going floating down the river now. So I've kind of lost out this summer too. So we're hoping for next summer I will get to go floating down the river. I really want to. I really want that experience. I love getting out on the water. But I definitely need somebody to go with me in my first time, somebody that is experienced going down this river, so I don't end up in the rapids and, get out where I'm supposed to get out, all of that kind of stuff. Katie says, if we had a boat, I don't think we'd ever stay at home when he's off. I don't blame you, Katie. Getting out on a boat can be exciting. I know not everybody is fantastic at swimming or enjoys the water, but I am one of those that does. I enjoy the wind, I enjoy the water, I enjoy the earth. I enjoy it all. All right. We are pressed. All right. I'm going to turn this guy off so he can start cooling down. And I don't think I'm going to worry about doing anything else because we got 6 minutes. All right. Let's see if I can get my hands on it. There we go. All right. So this is actually the top. Okay. So we have this bright pink sashing, or the bright pink cornerstones. And, oh, this is actually the bottom apparently. So it is upside down. So this is going sideways. Oh, hang on. We'll do it one row at a time. So that one odd block is going to end up at the top of the quilt, but that's okay. When we lived in Theodore, Alabama, we had friends with boats, and I loved it. Oh, I bet. I bet. All right, there we go. I just have to step over into the way of my other camera. All right, so we've got 3 rows across. So we've got a star, the square blocks, and then the spools. And then the next row, let me grab my sashing. Sorry. My hands aren't working. All right, so the next row is this offset piece, the log cabin that doesn't look like log cabin, and then the friendship star on top of itself. Thank you, Glenda. She says, wow, Tammy, that turned out beautiful. Thank you. Katie says, looks great, Tammy. Thank you. Kelly says, gorgeous, Tammy. Good night, all. Good night, Kelly. Thank you. All right, this is the next row. So we've got all the flying geese, the half triangle flying geese, the spool, the star. And then we have, let me grab it. There we go. Then we have the leaf, the half square triangles put together, and then the drunkard's path. That is all wonky. I love it. All right. So now we have this put together. Let me see what the measurements are. If I've got do I have my tape measure out? No, I apparently do not. It is put away. Okay, so I do not have my tape measure in order to measure the size, but we do always have our noses. So we're looking about 72 inches tall, and whatever 17 inches off of that is going to be, so that actually, no, it's not going to be 72. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's fairly large. So what's going to happen is the same pink that's on these cornerstones, like that, the same pink from that, is going to go on as a border to make it its finished size. And then it will be ready to quilt up. And I have no idea what quilting pattern I'm going to use. I have one other top that has no backing yet either. So that and the other top will be up there. And so I've got 1, 2, 3 quilts that have no quilting that are layered and ready to quilt. 2 that are halfway quilted. And then I will have 2 that are just tops. So I've got a lot to quilt coming up. I've got 1 to bind, and as soon as Thursday's class is over, we will have another quilt top ready to quilt. So a lot of what I will be doing starting in October, aside from working on Halloween Town and getting it embroidered out, because I can embroider that while I'm using my long arm. So I can set this machine up to embroider, go work on my long arm to quilt quilts, and just take breaks from quilting to come, do whatever I need to do to get my embroidery machine to the next step, and then go back to quilts and back and forth. I can do that all day long, and that's probably what you're going to see a little bit of on the retreat. So you may see a little bit of that going on. I have about 2 other UFO things that are hanging out, just waiting to be put together into something to finish them. So those will probably be getting put together soon as well. One of them is going to be really easy. The other one, I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing with it yet. I may do something like I did with this, where I sash the blocks to make them all a uniform size and then put them together. So I guess you guys will see some random UFOs coming out really soon. to get those done. And I think October is going to be an over at October. So we're over all the UFOs, so we can get those cleared out. So we're starting some new projects in November. So please stay tuned. There's going to be a lot coming up soon. If you've not signed up for the retreat and you want to, click the link below the video to go sign up for the retreat. It is free. You do not have to pay anything to attend this month's retreat. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here on a wonderful After Sunset Sunday. If you've not taken some time to just breathe and take some time for yourself, please do that. It is important for your mental health that you take a moment to breathe, take a moment to take stock of where you are. If you're where you want to be, then great. If you're not, then you have the option to make whatever changes you need to make. Sorry. That is my alarm that it is 10 o'clock, so I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a great evening.